almost 5 months that I've been playing this game. And I think I need to break down why. Because to be honest, in a weird way, it almost feels like fate. In a very cringe way, it feels that way. But why am I raising a horse to be a parent for a different horse? This requires some explaining to do. So we'll get some music in here. So when did I first learn about Uma? It was, I think, about 2019. Like back when I actually, or 2018? I don't remember. Whenever the first season of the anime first came out, I didn't watch it. I just kind of learned about it, and I'm just like, oh, an anime about idol horse girls. That's a Japanese product, all right. And I just kind of left it at that. I thought it was a quirky idea, but again, it was kind of like the idol thing, and they definitely emphasized that quite a bit. And overall, I was just like, eh. And that was how my thing with Uma went. And then, like, 6 years later, when the game actually came, the game got its global release. And to be honest, I didn't even know Uma was a gacha game, because the anime came out first. So I had no idea. No idea the slightest. Kind of funny. Also, this music's loud. I did not think this through. What's wrong with me? Okay. So, alright, we're done getting distracted. Bah. So 6 years later, game got its global release, and even then, I was like, not that interested. Because I'm just like, oh, it's the game that involved idols and whatnot, so overall, I was very about it still. But a lot of people were pretty hyped about it, because, again, people were kind of either remembering or just learning about this crazy concept to begin with. Which it is. It's a very odd concept for sure, right? But as how most things go, eventually some of the people in my friend group started to play it. Now it's just like, we're getting a little bit influenced, and again, if so wasn't too much. I was just playing one gacha at the time, that being Honkai Star Rail, as if the BGM is kind of not. Maybe the BGM gives it away, who knows. So I was like, I have my one gacha game. This is what I put my time into, this is what I put sometimes schmeckles into, so I'm like not too worried about wanting to pick another gacha game. So yeah, friends started to play it, and eventually they actually, as they typically do, start being like, hey, get in the V's, watch the live stream in the Discord chat. We gotta do some gacha pulls, baby. So watching that, actually seeing some horses that I didn't see before. One of them was, Narita Bryan. I think Narita Bryan was actually one of the first Umas where I was like, wait, that design's actually kind of cool. And honestly, she still is pretty cool. As if doing this run with her is an indication of that. She might be my Oshi. Well, for the time being. That might change, who knows. And then it was her, saw Manhattan Cafe. There's probably a couple other ones, I don't remember. I did also see Seiyun Sky. Seiyun Sky was just pretty cool in general. But even then, I still, wasn't too interested in playing the game. Even after being like, there's something here. Learned it was kind of like a roguelike, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. I wouldn't expect that from a game like this. Or from a concept like this. And then eventually, with a group of friends, we usually watch, anime. We get, a call together, watch anime on Tuesdays. And one of them was just like, hey, I read Cinderella Grey. The Oguri story. and there's an anime for it. Want to watch it? And it's like, oh, okay. So then we watched Stingray. And, you know, he was kind of, you know, talking about it. He's like, hey, cool thing about Stingray is it actually kind of goes through, you know, Oguri Cap's whole career, but as an anime. I'm like, huh. And that's what I actually started to learn. They're like, wait a minute. They actually base these horses off to like their real life career, or just like, please, can we take your horse and make it into an anime woman? I'm like, that's goes a little bit deeper than I thought. So go ahead, watch season 1 of Stingray. Was pretty good. Turns out the way they actually get me into, you know, Uma is to just be like, hey, what if it was just a sport anime and the idol thing was just kind of there? It wasn't the focal point anymore. It was just the sport anime part. And, you know, sport anime, or just like sports in general, they lead to good stories. That it kind of gives it a scenario to build up like goals and like rivals and emotions, all the other stuff, glory. And that's what be like, if Oguri's like this, what about some other ones? And then I start that's when I started actually going down more of a rabbit hole of Japanese horses, more so their RL careers. And yeah, some of the careers from them are wild, and actually seeing how well they're, you know, represented in the game was also just like, wow, that's actually incredible attention to detail. I had no idea. And again, it was like slowly kind of creeping into the whole, like, okay, this is getting spooky now. I don't want to play another gacha game, but it seems that life has kind of pushed me towards that direction anyway. But it was also at the time where Star Rail, I was like, I wasn't really feeling Star Rail too much anymore. Like start 2026. It was beginning. The feelings were getting a little sour. I'm just like, I kind of need a break from this game. I can't really play as a main anymore. I feel like it just kind of progressively kicked you in the balls, especially if you're someone that didn't want to spend money on the game anymore, which I pretty much stopped after, I think, what was that, 3.2, the Casters patch? I'm like, this game isn't worth my money anymore. And that's when I saw Enfield. I'm like, okay, that could be like maybe my Star replacement, or a game I care a little bit more about, because I think the type of game it's supposed to be was more up my alley compared to what Star Rail's giving out these days. So I'm like, okay, we're playing another gacha game. Great, now I have two. We have two at this very moment. And I was still very hesitant on the Uma. And then I learned that for Chinese New Year 2026, the zodiac sign, or the animal represents, sorry, I'm not too familiar with the official like name of it is. It was a horse, because of course it was. Of course 2026 is the year of the horse. Of course I would fall down this hole of learning about Japanese horse racing history. And it just kind of aligned. So, you know, middle of the day, or the morning of January 1st, I downloaded and installed Uma Musume on Steam. And that's kind of about it. That's how I got in here. But why am I still playing it, though? Why am I talking about parent runs? That usually means that you might be in too deep. And you're not wrong. I've definitely sipped some of the endgame stuff, and I'm like, ooh. But how did I get to the endgame stuff, you might ask? Well, my first thing with Uma was like, you know, I'm gonna play this casually. And I'm gonna try to, you know, beat the URA finale, or the UR finale, however it's supposed to be called, and then go from there. And it did take quite a few attempts to beat that for the first time. Especially when you're first starting out, you just have R-rated cards and whatever. So it definitely took, how long did it really take me to get there? Actually, I gotta look it up for a second. Hold up. I know I saved a screenshot because I was just like, hey, yo, I finally... Look, Bob, I finally made it! It's in a screenshot, so I'm just gonna find it. It took me... like the end of the month to finally, like, win. And of course it was with Bakshin. Of course it was with Bakshin, because Bakshin's kind of piss easy to actually clear a good ending with her. I tried it with Daiwa, I tried it with other characters, and it didn't quite work out. But hey, in doing it casually, when I actually started, like, you know, running the other Umas, I got to learn about their stories and their character stories, their career event stories or whatever, and it was all very, actually pretty interesting. Learned a lot about these characters. A character that I really liked that I didn't think I would at the start was Nice Nature. Really liked her story. This the kind of whole, like, not confidence thing. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna make you win and you're gonna like it. Take that. Take that, bitch. Get loved. Get loved, idiot. And yeah, that was the part that actually kind of kept me going, because at that point I'm just like, hey, I think it's really fun to make the horses that historically weren't good, like, be the best. And it's like, hey, that's kind of like the whole point of this game is you can't, these race horses in a weird way have like a second life through the game and like how you raise them and whatnot. So, just playing it, eventually I actually learned about JP's meetings, but I didn't do them right away because I'm just like, I just want to play a game. And, you know, it was actually during that time, I think it was like during January when I first started playing it. That's when I actually started looking at like more videos about it. And I think like the first like Uma like game related video I saw was was a pole plan video by, I think, Mumu. Yeah, it was definitely Mumu. And he gave like a whole breakdown of like shit from like January to April. I'm just like, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff in this game. And that was pretty helpful. It actually kind of gave me an idea of how to plan for stuff, because I relearned how pole economies work in JP Gacha games. And it turns out they work very not great. So knowing when to dump your schmeckles into either a character or a card was pretty important. So I learned about pole plans from them, and then eventually started learning about some of the more in-depth stuff because I just couldn't stop. It's kind of learned it from, okay, I'm gonna try and name them all down. I learned about, so I first learned about all the in-depth stuff, and also just like CM related stuff from content creators like I think it was, how did it go? And they're not going to be in order, but it was like Zelarinth, the Mr. Dr. Pancakes or his Dr. Pancakes, Shanaha, who was kind of like a mix of just like casual and like doing end game. There was Ray, there was Lightburb, Mumu technically, because, you know, he was like, hey, pull on these characters or your account's bricked or some shit like that. And I'm just like, ooh, CM, let's give it a shot. So the first one I did was the sprint one, because they're just like, hey, this one's kind of gamba anyway, so even if your horses are dog water, you might still win. And you know what? They were kind of right. Because out of like the 80 races I did with, oh my god, my team was so bad. Because like that cup started with me running like a 2-star King Halo and Air Groove, and then a Fuji. I did manage to get a Fuji from somewhere. I got a Fuji from either trying to get on the Christmas Ogre banner or the How to New Year banner, whatever they are. Don't. That she came from one of those. And the result of those pulls, I did get Christmas Ogre. I actually got her twice. I wanted Biwa, but oh well, I would take another Ogre. And I got Haru, because Haru deserves the win sometimes. That's where those two came from. So yeah, during that sprint CM, out of like those 80, well technically 81 races, I can only remember winning like 3 of them. And again, it was Gamba, and I think all 3 of those wins came from, I think like 2 of them was Air Groove, and then like 1 was Fuji. But still, actually doing that and getting to like B finals, I'm just like, holy, that actually worked. So it's like, okay, so that's how that works. So if I make just slightly better horses, we can do slightly better in CMs. So I was like, all right, let's work with that. I think the next one was a dirt mile CM. I don't remember the names of the CMs. I just remember what they were. It's like dirt mile. Okay, we got Condor. We got our new Haru. And I spent my selector on OG Oguri because I looked at Christmas Oguri. I'm like, you know what? Putting 3 stab like recoveries in a mile, kind of dumb. I'm not doing that. So I got Oguri. And with that team actually did much better than the sprint one. Because thankfully I actually got enough copies to justify dumping some goddess statues into L. And she was like the main winner of that one. She wouldn't be a lot. Pretty much when she got to like, I read her as pace. When pretty much when she got to first, she was gone for like most of them. And eventually I got to groupie finals. Didn't win it either. I think my best one was like Oguri. I think she either placed like 3rd or 2nd. Don't remember. There's going to be a theme with that. And I saw that, I'm like, that CM actually went a lot better. I can't wait for the next one. Little did I know, Teto Show Spring was rough. Like, actually just being the stamp requirements when my decks aren't very good. Like, okay, I had Super Creek, but she was only like 1 MLB. That 1 MLB. 1 LB, and oh my god, working with that damn thing when he has like no friendship and it's track blazer, so like you're not building that friendship up enough. That was rough, buddy. Oh my god. I'm gonna get a drink. That was so rough. But despite that, I actually had a decent team. Because out of like my free Uma polls, I actually did get Kita-san on the last free tenor. So I'm like, alright, maybe we got a shot. And I was like, okay, we got Gold Ship. I could use Gold Ship. Gold Ship, fine. And then I dumped some money on this game because I don't have a problem, and that's what I actually used to get Brian. Because I remembered, wait, out of all these Umas still, I still really like Narita Brian. And I don't want to wait too long for her rerun, because that's going to take too long. I want her now. So I did get her now. And she's been great. Love her. Like, okay, we got our team for the Teto Show Spring one, which is Pace, Narita, front, Kita-san, of course, and Gold Ship. Except Gold Ship had to change because, god damn it, I could not get a good run with her. So I just used like a pair of Oguri, who I was using for Brian, funnily enough. And that one went a bit better. That team pretty much lost to any good like front or end. And if there's like a good end or front, that team was cooked. But we still won a couple times. Brian did fairly well. Kita-san won a couple. And funnily enough, that Oguri that I did not plan on using for Teto Show Spring at all, she also won a couple, which I found very funny. And got the Group B finals again, didn't win, and weirdly enough, Oguri got 2nd. Brian was even close. I think she might have died or got cucked. I don't remember. So I was like, okay. So the next CM should be better. You know, we've been steadily improving. We've been racking up more wins, like in each of the qualifying rounds, and then still making the Group B and having the chance of winning it. Just a chance. So that was the Satsuki Show one. And that one, I was kind of dirty with that one. I decided to kind of go meta, and by kind of go meta, I mean Christmas Ogre. Because, hey, I had her at 4 stars. Apparently she was busted on Satsuki Show because her ult has very good timing. It's like, alright, we're actually going to finally use Christmas Ogre. We're going to run Brian again because Brian. And... shit, what was my third? I don't remember. Oh, it was Silent Suzuka. Why? Because I did like one run with her, and it turns out she just kind of did fine. It was I also just needed a third, so yeah. Did Satsuki Show? We did pretty all right. I think there actually were like a few like tickets to get close to getting wins in all of them, but didn't work all the time. That team did lose to better Ogres and also just like better fronts and ends, which that just seems to be the main the main thing. And yeah, despite, you know, struggling, made the Group B finals again. Actually, before I got into that, so one of my tickets actually did get 3 wins on. Oh yeah, I think I did say that. So then my team was thrown into Group A round 2, and that was rough. My ass was getting blasted. I'm just like, man, things were going so good until they weren't. And yeah, so when I got dropped into Group B finals, I just didn't have confidence. But despite that, all my Umas were actually like surprisingly favored for Group B finals. I think my Suzuka was #1 favorite, which is funny because I think she only won 1 race out of all those 80. Brian was 3rd, and then my Chris Ogre was 4th. And how Group B finals went was my Suzuka got 4th, Brian got 3rd, and Chris's Ogre got 1st. Look, the favorite number, whatever the number favorite, it don't matter. It's a fake ranking. But hey, I won my Group B finals. The first finals I won, shockingly enough. Well, not shocking. Here's why it's not shocking. Because each time I was going in and making an Uma for whatever cup it was going to be, they were gradually getting better. And just like just being able to like optimize my runs, being able to actually like make a horse I can like really win. That is what's fucking destroying my my time to do anything else. It's a surprisingly addicting game. And it really doesn't help that there's actually some horses where I'm just like, damn, I like you, I want you to win. Or I want to make you win. More like, more so. So, just kind of like that gradual improvement in the CMs is kind of why I kind of want to like track my progress for like this, like the next like batch of CMs. By the next batch, I mean the next reruns. Because the next one is the first one, which is the Derby. Or Dobby, depending on how weeb you want to be. So I think it'd be fun just to document that, like as be like, hey, I'm like a rookie jobber trainer guy. So I'm gonna document how I go through like these reruns of the CMs, and from the end of that, I can just be like, hey, like here's how I was, and here's where I ended up. And like, shit, was it gonna be like 8 months? However fast the schedule's going. It's going wild. So I thought it'd be pretty interesting to do that, and I think making a video like this first to kind of give you an idea of like how I am with the game. Like from my perspective, jumping into it at a much later date compared to other accounts that have definitely started like sometime last year, so they definitely have more than I do, mainly as a support cards. I got pretty lucky with some support cards. I got really lucky with like some of the SRs. Like I got Like you got like an MLB like Admire Vega Guts, as well as like an MLB like Shinko Windy. Those have been great for Track Blazer, by the way. And I'm lucky enough to also be able to get 3 limit break on Super Creek by Selectors and 3 limit break on Fine Motion from that pre-one with Kawakami, or like happened like before Kita saw it. So that's what's making like this account just like a little bit better. It's just luck. Shocker, it's a gambling game. But yeah, so the one I'm gonna be doing for Satsuki isn't gonna be like have like the best presentation, unfortunately. It's gonna be kind of shoddy. But hopefully for the next ones, it's like a more, you know, better looking like breakdown of like how the CM's gonna go. I don't know if I want to stream attempts. That I haven't figured out yet. I mean, I do stream, so maybe I should. I can, but does it mean I should? There's other games I want to play too. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting experiment at the very least. And hey, if you want to just kind of see how it goes, be sure to check out the channel, sub, because you'll be seeing a CM video at this point like every 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, or something like that, and I'll be streaming in between, like I really should be doing because I haven't been lately. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be all for me for that. Thank you for watching. Check me out on all the socials. Have a good morning, day, evening, or night. Be acting to each other and be acting to yourselves. Peace out.